In this presentation, we have Deborah from OhioKAN, Ohio Kinship and Adoption Navigators program, to tell you about the services they offer. OhioKAN is an 100% free service for Ohio's kinship and adoptive families, and they have navigators that can talk one-on-one with any questions you may have, and it is statewide. So we definitely recommend that you call. The number is throughout the presentation, but it is 1-844-644-6526. Thank you so much to Deborah and to OhioKAN. They have partnered with Kinship Caregivers Connect over the past 5 years, and they're such a great support to us in this group.
Kinship Caregivers Connect, this support group, I've heard lots and lots and lots of wonderful things about it. And of course, at OhioKAN, we do a lot of partnership and work with Angela, and even some of you who've maybe come in at different times for panels or things that we've done. So I just want to thank you guys for letting me come, and also having different OhioKAN staff in the past. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to share my screen in just a couple minutes. And I'm going to go through a PowerPoint, and it may be something you've seen before, maybe not. But I'm a very conversational style. So if anytime we're going through this and you have a question, or if you want to just know more in general or have a thought, feel free just to come off mute. We can chat.
Yeah, and I do just want to say, I should have prefaced with this, but OhioKAN has been such a support to our group and really partnered and funded our work since the beginning. So we really love the things that OhioKAN does, but also appreciate being a support to us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really about all the great partnerships and things we build with people, right? So just all the way around. So here we go. I'm going to kick us off. So Kinship 101, there's some slides in here I took out. There's some slides I added. This is a support group, and you guys are very familiar with kinship and post-adoptive care and things like that. So I'm sure that this is not foreign to you. But why I like to share this is sometimes we do things just because it's natural and it's a fit and it's what you do, right? So this was a quote that we actually had from somebody, and I just really enjoyed it because it speaks to that. They told me I was eligible for help as a kinship caregiver. I smiled. I thought I was just grandma. So sometimes we just jump in and help our family or our friends or whatever relationship that might be. Sometimes it's just what you do. Sometimes it's a little more formal, and there's some different aspects to it. But it's just to bring understanding and resonate. This is happening all the time, and I'm sure if it's not something that you are familiar with, or if you're new to the kinship world or post-adoptive and raising kiddos that just aren't biologically yours, somebody that is or has. So it's kind of that 6 degrees of separation. It's happening and it's going on, and we want to shed light on it. We want to provide the supports and put resources out there for people to utilize, because it's a big deal. So what is OhioKAN? Just you can throw in the chat if you like. If you're on camera and you want, raise your hand. But how many of you have heard of us and actually utilized us? So some familiarity there a little bit. So we are a statewide program. We like to consider ourselves very flexible and responsive, and we're all about, thank you for the hands, we're all about providing supports and resources to those kinship and post-adoptive families that need them. And like this slide says, it can be from the simplest questions, the simplest challenges, to maybe some bigger or deeper ones. We can help navigate that a bit and get you on a path that feels good to you and fits for your family. So we are a statewide program that helps elevate the supports and resources mostly that are already out there, and then try to bridge the gaps for the ones that aren't, to get those kinship caregivers the resources and supports they need. So who are we for? I've kind of said this, but we are for kinship families and post-adoptive families. So we know there's some fostering definitely that goes on. And if you have a foster situation and you're on the cusp of going into a kinship or going into a post-adoptive, we can be very cuspy there, and we can help if it's getting close to deadlines or dates that are happening, that transition. But we're all about those kinship families that are informal and formal. So that means they can have some legal components there or be going through CPS, or they're not. So it can be both. And when we talk about post-adoptive, that can be any type of adoption family in terms of public, private, international. The only post-adoptive families that we do not work with directly like that is like if it's a step parent or within the family adoption, that's a little different. So those are the eligibility pieces. Those are the families that we're serving right now in that world. So what are the areas we can help with? We help a lot around basic needs, and that is a big topic that can cover all types of things. Basic needs, housing, rent, transportation, food, shelter in general, benefits access and coordination. So for those of you who are familiar or have heard, like Angela said, we have benefit coordinators that can help with understanding and access of all the things around benefits that are available to our families. So that is something that you can get a one-on-one time slot with them, with your navigator, with them to talk more in depth if that's what's needed. Child and caregiver health. A lot of times when it's coming time, you're transitioning and you're getting these new kiddos in your home or whatever that may look like, there's some humps and bumps. There's hurdles that have to be overcome, and healthcare can be one of them. Health in general, getting maybe the caregiver some supports and things they need so they can be in a position to be able to care for the kiddos, or maybe the kiddos are coming with some challenges around the healthcare. We can help with that. Child and caregiver education pieces. You can see the list there. There's more social supports, child development, education in schools, family functioning, financial assistance, legal aid services, and just navigating all the things in general. It's very overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming. And we want to help with that. We want to help with that as much as we can. So what are some specific examples of those? So I've mentioned a couple, but we just kind of laid out some more here on the screen. You can see directly connecting with community resources. So if you are a kinship caregiver and you're needing to find some resources for what's going on in your family to make things work, fit, support in general, we can work with you on that, and we will talk through those things with you and get you directly connected with the folks that we need to. So those warm handoffs feels really good sometimes, rather than sometimes it's hard. And we let you lead this. So, and I'll get to a little more on what that process looks like, but giving somebody a name and saying, hey, you need this, go reach out to them. We can do that for you, but we can also walk through it with you. We can help give that warm handoff, and we can help make that call and help make sure that connection is made and some follow through if that's what's needed. I've talked about the benefit coordination and consultation a little bit and what we can offer there. Maybe you applied for benefits. Maybe this is so interesting. I had something I was filling out and doing just yesterday, and I forgot to check a box. I forgot to check a box, y'all. So what I was doing in the world that I was doing, whatever I was doing in, I didn't check the box, so my application got held up for something. Everything else was filled out to a T. It was great, good, whatever, but I forgot the box. So that held up the whole process, and it's something I had to go back and figure out, well, how I've already submitted. Do I resubmit it again? Because then it's going to like be double duty, and I don't want it to get confusing. That benefit consultation and coordination, that can be anything from helping you walk through to applying for benefits the first time or the third time, or dealing with an appeal for maybe a denial rejection piece. So those are things that we can help with as well. So if you missed the box, we can help you with that. If you clicked the box and it just didn't go your way for some reason, we can walk through why and how, and does this need to be an appeal process? What can we do instead of that? So we like to offer that as an option as well. Working alongside county children's service agencies, that's a really big deal. building those partnerships and relationships with our county workers in that realm can sometimes help whatever that transition looks like. The beauty of OhioKAN is we are voluntary. So somebody can't tell you that you have to work with us. That is your choice because we are a voluntary program. So you may be working with a professional in some other organization or realm and they want to refer you. We can take referrals, but that referral has to be signed off by you. And you have to agree to that because, again, we are voluntary. And if you don't, we respectfully take the referral and we'll hear the parts and pieces, but we're not going to reach out to you and follow through with things if that's not what you want. So why I'm telling you that is it's your choice and we respect what your decision is. So we are not in a position we want to help families and we want you to be the owners of what you feel that you need for your family and what works best for you. I talked about warm handoffs to resources and providers. We will do that for sure. Helping with applications, coordinating directly with Department of Children and Youth. Maybe you've been working on something for quite a while and it's not going through. You're not getting the call back. We can help with that. We can maybe tap into some additional resources we have to get that call to go through, to get that call back to happen. Linking to community partners for unique funding needs. That can happen in a variety of ways. We're not here to replace all the great programs that are out there. We're here to help elevate and enhance. So what our first go-to would be, what's your challenges? What do you have going on? Talk us through it. And then we can share what your options are. If those options aren't working, and if those options can't meet a need, then we can go into some next steps. But we really want to elevate some of the great things that are already going on that we have access to. Access to Flux funds. So if we are going through and elevating those parts and pieces, so maybe the program you're reaching out to, the funding has fallen through, or maybe the funding has run out for a period of time, or maybe you've been on a waiting list for a really long time and you're having a struggle getting the thing. We can help with that through our Flex funds. We do have money that we can help support and do and meet those needs. And we're really careful. We know sometimes, for a lack of a better term, we know sometimes we've got to work quick, right? And band-aid something for sure. But we really want to look at longevity and sustainability. We might have to turn around and do something quickly to help, but we also want to set you up for success the best we can and put things at your fingertips for that longevity and sustainability. So that's a depends. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but a lot of times in the world that we're in around kinship care and post-adoptive, the word depends really matters because everybody's situation is different. And we try to take that into account. So what might work for one may not work for another, but we try to customize that plan to tailor fit you. And then elevating issues when there may not be an immediate solution. So what I mean by that is, I've done a lot of talking today. Sorry, guys. What I mean by that is there are gaps and barriers out there that happen. So when I shared, maybe you've been on that waiting list for a really long time, or maybe the funding ran out by the time you got to what you needed to get to. That's like a gap and barrier. That is something that's like, wow, maybe it's just access in general. It's not in your area. And maybe it's a county by county thing. This county has it, but the county that's right next door that I live 5 minutes from doesn't have it. That's a gap and barrier for us. That's a gap and barrier for you. That's something we want to note and elevate. And when I say elevate, we go into different folks that we work with in different meetings and we share that. We try to get that up the chain and maybe at a state level. That's how we impact change. That's how we create awareness. So we like to elevate those challenges and issues when we can. So what are ways OhioKAN helps navigate these areas? So we've kind of talked about what they are and a little bit about it. Um, what does that look like on that end with a navigator and with a kinship caregiver? It's going to be a dedicated one-on-one navigator for you to work through whatever those challenges are and to engage with you and your family to meet your needs. We have a lot of resources at our fingertips we're going to tap into and share. And we want to get those in your hands and pick the right ones. And then it's just more than referrals. There's supports and maybe things that lead to long-term supports and something that you can utilize for, a longer period of time than maybe what you would be working with OhioKAN. So just building those relationships. So I said this phrase earlier in a different meeting as I'm working on some things, and it's really about understanding and access. It's understanding's a broad term, but on the back end of all the working parts, understanding for maybe professionals, it's understanding for lived experience folks, understanding in general. How is this working? What do we need? And then access on that too. How do we get this in the hands of people who need it the way that they need it? So we try to customize that, make that one-on-one. I'm going to pause for a second. I see some things in the chat. I'm not reading it, but I see my number popping. Does anybody have any questions or comments on anything I've said so far? What drives OhioKAN? I kind of said this in the beginning, and I'm going to hit your questions as we go. So I've got them. We believe that families are inherently capable of finding solutions. So what we mean by that is, again, when I was talking about you're the owner of your family, you know what your family needs. We're not here to tell you what your family needs. And this is voluntary. We think that you guys are able to come to us and share with that and what solutions might look like for you rather than us dictating for you. So we just want to share that and that know that all circumstances and challenges are different. And again, it's that depends and what that looks like. And we want to work with everybody on an individual basis. This is just some knowledge, and I think some of you may be familiar with this. But benefits of kinship care, we know that it's been proven that kinship care is recognized for its potential to provide a more nurturing and stable environment for children, and it can increase stability. It can increase stability for children often placed in familiar environments and relatives. That can help reduce trauma. It's helpful with that, and knowing family members can aid in that trauma reduction. And then also cultural continuity. That's really important. Maintaining what that family dynamic may look like or how that family dynamic operates. That cultural and family ties can be beneficial for a child's identity and sense of belonging. So there is knowledge and facts behind why kinship care is really important, and how it's good for kiddos in a lot of different situations. And some of you may have experienced that firsthand. I do want to let you know that we are a program that's run out of DCY, the Department of Children and Youth. We were kind of birthed out of that, and they help do a lot of our funding. So this is just a slide a little bit about them. Although they help with some of our funding and we are connected with them as a program, there's things that are separate too. We operate a little bit different than other DCY programs, but we're also based out of Connect. So I work for a company that's called Connect. And Connect's the overarching, and this is why I'm sharing this. Connect is the overarching program, and we have several programs under us. And OhioKAN is one of them. But I wanted to share these things with you guys because we have other programs that we operate in as well. OhioKAN is one of them. We have Connect to Family. We have our Youth Navigator Network. This is kind of like our little sister program, more for young adults and youth. We have our Safe and Affirmed Youth program and our Youth-Centered Permanency Roundtables. Each of these programs, again, are run by Connect and designed to meet the needs of a particular demographic. So for OhioKAN, we're really all about navigator service for kinship and post-adoptive caregivers looking for one-on-one support. Our Connect to Family program is about intensive family finding service to support youth prior to entering public children's service agencies in custody. YNN, we call it YNN, the Youth Navigator Network. Again, is kind of like our little sister program. This is a navigator service for foster youth and alumni up to age 23. This is for those kiddos that are coming out of care and transitioning in to what those phases look like of being a young adult and coming into all the things that go along with that, and services and things that we can provide around those folks. Services supporting youth and seeking safe spaces across a wide range of circumstances. That's for our Safe and Affirmed. And giving young people age 12 plus who have been in the Public Children's Services Agency custody for 12 plus months a seat at the table. This is elevating their voice because that is important for our YCT RP folks and those kiddos. Like I said, we are statewide. So when you call us, you can call us by an 800 number. When you call that 800 number, it's going to prompt you to put in a zip code. When you put in your zip code, it's going to connect you into whatever region that you live in for your county. So I don't know where most of you are. You guys might have a variety of counties represented here today. But for example, if you live in Fairfield County and you type in that zip code, when you call the 800 number, it's going to connect you to Region 7, and you will be directly linked to a Region 7 navigator. And they will be the navigator that works with you throughout your relationship with OhioKAN. And then they can help find you those resources and supports in that area. If you're somebody that may live in the Guernsey County area, you put in your zip code, you're going to be connected to there. And why I like to share that is whether you're in Guernsey County, Fairfield County, or maybe you're clear up here in Williams County, when you call OhioKAN, we want you to be able to have the same access no matter where you are. We are not a county by county agency where things change. Everything that you would get maybe in Guernsey versus Williams should be the same thing. And you know what I mean? Like what we offer buffet style for supports and resources. We say sometimes our analogy is we're like Starbucks. If you're going to the airport and ordering a drink at Starbucks, it's going to be the same drink that if you were ordering it maybe down in Scioto County driving through, or maybe you went on vacation somewhere and you ordered a drink at Starbucks. No matter where you're getting that Starbucks at, that drink that you order should be the same. So we are statewide, but we are broken up into different regions, and that's just so we can serve our families the best we can. And we are partnered with some site partners who actually work in the communities. And why I'm mentioning that, these are some resources. These are folks that you may have worked with or be familiar with some of these logos, but they help provide the navigators that are doing our frontline work with our kinship caregivers. So we have some great partnerships with a lot of these folks, with all these folks that you see on here. We do have state and regional advisory councils. These are extra councils. So when I was talking about we like to elevate some challenges and barriers and things that are going on, one way we can do that is through our regional advisory councils. We do work on the back end, what's going on in different communities that are a hardship or challenges for folks, and we're bringing that forward. If this is something you're ever interested in, let me know. We're always looking for folks, lived experience folks to be a part of our different councils, and we have a council in each of our different regions. So there's 10 of them all together. And it's something that we love having those lived experience voices. So these are just some stats, what we look at for data-wise, informal families, formal families, and post-adoptive. This is what we've looked at across. So OhioKAN's been working and running with families since October of 2020. And this is what some of our numbers look like along the way and who we served so far. This might speak to some of you. We know that these are the age ranges of the folks that we're working with. And why I share this is we know that grandparents are some of our biggest population in our demographic for the kinship and post-adoptive kiddos that are out there that we're working with. And it typically the highest age range is at 51 to 60 years of age. It's what we're seeing. And 48% of that makes up grandparents. And we're seeing lots and different numbers in all the different categories. I've seen aunts and uncles increasing, but typically grandparents are our number one population. And what are families needing help with? You can see that list here. We hit a lot of these things earlier, but this can be around financial resources and basic needs and what all that includes, all the way caregiver training and education. So these are things I mentioned earlier in the slide, but these are what folks are asking for and needing help with. So this is what I want to get into with you. What does it actually look like? So this is where some of your questions are going to get answered. You can call us using that 800 number I'm going to share in a little bit. You can be referred to us by somebody that you're working with, a different professional in an organization or an agency. And if you do that, you're going to have a one-on-one conversation with us, about a 30 or 40-minute conversation about just gaining information, those basics, like what's going on and who's in your home and what do you need help with and what's that look like for you. And we're going to break that down a little bit and gain understanding. Once we do that, those are part of those basic questions and understanding and making sure that we're on the same page. Then we're going to go into our resources. So we have, like I said earlier, we have some resources at our fingertips we can tap into. We have a thing, it's called the hub, and we can search by location, we can search by need, and we can kind of go in there and pull things out for you that are a fit. We can talk about it with you. I like to compare it to online shopping. And here's why. Whether Amazon you're familiar, or whether Walmart or whatever you use for online shopping. I have a very unhealthy addiction with Amazon. But when you're shopping and you grab your thing and you put it in your cart, and then your cart's holding your items, and then you check out. We can do that. We can search on here by whatever that may be, and we grab the thing, the resource, and we add it to what we call a binder, your cart. Once we go through that with you and we talk through what you're looking for and we customize it, that cart, when we check out, that can be sent to you through text, through email. We can send it through the United States Postal Service to get that in your hands. And we're also going to work with you on what that looks like to carry it out. Is this something that you want to do on your own, or would you like us to help you in making those phone calls and reaching out to these people, or do we want to divide and conquer and do it together? And that's what this slide talks about, is taking action together. When we put that thing, that resource in your binder, and we're sending it to you, it's going to look like this. It's going to give a description of what that resource is. So maybe you're calling because you got some kiddos in your home unexpectedly, or maybe it was expected, but there's some unexpected expenses, or maybe something happened and the budgeting that you did to make it all work's just not happening. That's life, right? Maybe it's around school supplies and school clothes. We can find some resources for you and we can put in here. We're going to have all the location information, the contact information, and we can even customize this down to the point where, like, hey, if you go to the back to school thing on this date, reach out to Angela. She'll be there and I know her and she traded. So we can customize it down to the very words that we type on it, but it's also going to have a description and all their contact information. We can get this in your hands, and we can also do it with you. What we'll do after that happens and you and your navigator decide what that looks like for you, we'll touch base with you when you want us to. We might follow up in a couple days to make sure you got the items and you're looking through it, and if you have any questions, but then we might not touch base with you for a week or 2 weeks. It's what you prefer. You get to dictate that. We are 100% free. We do not have income eligibility, so that's not something that you have to worry about. I just want to make that known, but we provide that ongoing support. And typically we work with families anywhere from 30 days and 90 days, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter. We let you help decide that. So this is what our 800 number is. Our operating hours are from 8:30 to 6:30 from Monday through Friday. So we don't consider ourselves an emergency organization, but we know that there's lots of urgencies for sure. And we know that sometimes, depending on what your situation is, it can definitely feel like an emergency. So these are our operating hours, and you can always leave a voicemail if it's after hours or on a weekend, and we will turn around and call you back within a business day. You can also reach out to our website. We have a very, very robust website with lots of resources and info, and you yourself can put in an inquiry that way as well. So if you don't want to call the 800 number and you'd rather do your own inquiry, you just fill out a few things, send it to us, and a navigator will call you. We can reach that way. But I wanted to share this too. We handle PASS, and we've been doing this for the last couple of years. PASS is the Post-Adoption Special Services Subsidy. So for those post-adoptive kiddos that may have some special needs, that they need some additional supports, we help operate that now. It was one time under DCY they did that, but now we've been doing it. So you might call us and you don't want OhioKAN services. You might just want PASS services. You can do that. You might call us and just want OhioKAN services and not PASS. You might call us and want both, and that's okay. You might call us and just have a question, and that's okay too. But I just wanted to share that we do handle PASS, and we do that for anybody who has questions or has a kiddo that you think is something you want to explore. It would be OhioKAN that helps facilitate those next steps. So I'm going to pause there for a second because I gave a whole bunch of information. I think we're going to move forward just a little bit. I'm almost done. So on this next slide, again, just highlighting YNN again. I'm going to send you guys lots of juicy resources. So you'll have our website link. You'll have a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. I know Angela has mentioned it, but I can get that link to her again. There is a whole benefit coordination little webinar piece that you can watch if you want that can shed some light on some things. So I can get you some of that and some digital materials for maybe some understanding you can read through, but I will get you all of that. But YNN, again, is kind of like our little sister program, but it's more serving the young adults and youth in the same way. So if you yourself know somebody that may benefit from that, or helping with somebody through that right now, that might be worth a call to them. This is what, if you do go on our website, this is a little portion of what it looks like if you want to make a referral. Again, you can do one on yourself, on your own, or somebody might make it on your behalf. But just know that if some organization is making a referral on your behalf, we do ask that it is signed by you before we reach out, because we respect that privacy and we respect the fact that you even want to be contacted. We will never just call somebody out of the blue and say, hey, we heard this, we want to work with you. We will not do that. Just so you know. And this is what some of those materials can look like. And you can request materials from us as well. So there's a link that you can go on. And if you want some items coming directly to your home, or maybe a group that you work with and you want to share things, you can definitely get those marketing materials, and we can put those in your hands.